Hello everyone, my name is Matt, and welcome back to the Morning Crow Tarot Show, where we beseech the messengers of the old gods for guidance through these trying times. I hope this message finds you well today, and please keep in mind that this will be a general reading. And let's get started. I'll open it by drawing a few runes. It's a noisy process, so please, if you need to turn down your volume, do so now. And here we go. Got 4 again. That's okay. Let's see. Well, the first one out this time is Manas. And then we'll pick this one. Gable. Fehu. And one over here. Kenas. So we have Manas, Gable, Fehu, and Kenas. So the rune of self is Manas, or the collective humanity. It's an interesting paradox, juxtaposition. Then Gable, which is the gift rune, the also balance. And then Fehu, of course, the first rune, which is abundance, wealth, good luck. And then Kenas, the fire rune. So could be vision, guidance, that kind of thing. I often think of it as kind of like the hermit rune. It's interesting that we pull these. I think it's going to be a message about trusting ourselves and trusting the path that we find ourselves on. I've been experiencing a lot of anxiety today, and I do readings for myself throughout the day, tarot readings, and it seemed like at one point it predicted it, and it makes sense that I feel this way. I think I'm a fixed sign. I'm a Taurus, and we're going to be experiencing the first moon and full moon in Taurus, the first full moon under the sign, and it's the first full moon after the transition of Uranus out of Taurus and into Gemini. So I think this reading will be, well, I don't know what exactly it'll be, but I do really believe it will have to do with us trusting ourselves and using our inner guidance and understanding that there is a wealth of that, and that our self and our collectiveness is a gift, a true gift from the gods. So let's see what the cards say. Please keep in mind that this is a general reading, and so take what resonates, leave the rest. I hope if any of you have been experiencing anxiety like me, that this will help bring some relief. I feel a bit better now, so hopefully we'll all feel that way. And let us begin. So to start, 4 of Wands, crossed by the Star, and above, 7 of Wands. Let's get these moved out of the way a little bit. And below, the 7 of Cups. Behind us is the Empress. In front of us, the World. Closing out a cycle, maybe. Interesting. Definitely falls in line with this movement of Uranus out of Taurus. Alright, so here in our current energy, the Emperor. And what others see? The Ace of Wands. And in our hopes and fears, the Knight of Pentacles. And finally, oh my, the Eight of Cups. We're moving on from something. Wow. On the bottom of the deck, we have the Wheel of Fortune. And what's the top card, just out of curiosity? The Six of Cups. So there's some neighboring energies of cycles completing, karma, old friends, old times. Yeah, I'm going to flip that over just because. Remind us that there's something in our past. So the star energy here, crossing the Four of Wands. So our comfort, our homestead, that heart. This crossing star energy is testing. It's a definitely some sort of a test. And up here, it might be because we're feeling defensive. We know that we're moving into something new. We're moving away from our comfort here, and here we are in our comfort, but we need to move, and we know we need to carry on into a different cycle. Seven of Wands is giving us like a defensive type of an energy up above. So our mind is being tested. And that is what this Seven of Cups is about here down below. In our reality, we might be experiencing things that whereas sometimes this can be choices, this is also illusions. And we're trying to sort through exactly where we need to go. And we know we're at the end of this cycle, this shift of Uranus into Gemini. And so for us fixed signs, it's a very big one. And if you're a Taurian like me, it's very big. And so again, it's our comfort where we've been for this past 8 years while I'm sure we've been tested and it's been a hard time for a lot of us, and maybe others it's been a time of comfort. And I think we do find a lot of comfort even in difficult times. And so we have to grow out of that eventually, or else we'll just stay in those difficult times. And that again leads us to the Seven of Cups here. Or Seven of Wands and the Seven of Cups. Because if we're going to move on, well, what do we do now? And I think the cards here are pointing at we need to move into the Emperor. We need this star is a blessing. It as much of it is a test. It's also a test of our comfort. We need to recognize it as the confidence of the Emperor, and we need to move here. And I think our Ace of Wands, that's telling us that others that outside of us, we have that ability. We have the idea, we have at least the ability to recognize exactly what we'll need to do. And here, the Knight of Pentacles in hopes and fears, and if we read that in both directions, we're hoping for kind of a new start in a way, but not a new start. That would be more like a page, but this is still the energy of the field. And it's of planting a field, of moving into a new era of abundance, a new kind of abundance. And the fear, of course, is it's new, and it has to be new. And this is a card of patterns, too. And so at the end with the Eight of Cups, it's very interesting because the Eight of Cups is, of course, the walking away energy. In some decks it would be the Lord of Abandoned Success, but I don't think we're abandoning success. I think we're walking away from a situation that has served its purpose, That's this here. We know we're moving towards the end of a cycle. And that cycle is one where we found comfort in discomfort. At least some of us, for sure. And even though we're needing to move away from this empress here, from the mother, yeah, that makes sense. This is the ultimate comfort here. These two cards together is very, very is a comfort. And we need to disrupt that comfort. And we can't, if we stay in that comfort, we'll be illusioning ourselves. And we'll be exhausting ourselves here because we're going to be defending ourselves constantly for not changing. And we need to take on the Emperor energy. We need to move from the Empress. We need to kind of step away from the passive and move towards the active. And again, we have the Ace of Wands right here in the outer energy and what other people are seeing. Other people are going to recognize that we're able to do this. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they'll support us, of course. So there has to be a disruption. And really, the disruption pattern is the comfort, is the passive, the home. And we can do this. We'll be able to. We have that ability. And really, I don't think we can fight it. With the world, with us approaching the end of this cycle, the world is telling us that we need to move on. We need to become the Emperor. Okay, so let's examine the runes a bit more. Again, Manas, Gebo, Fehu, Kenas. Let's put these up towards the camera so we can see them, hopefully. Yeah, a little bit. I'll have to get some better runes. Anyway. So I think here, Manas, that again is the self. And with being next to Gebo, we can look at that as a balance. With Fehu, it could be that this is here because it wants to remind us, that the gods want to remind us that abundance comes in many forms. Wealth and abundance aren't just necessarily material things. And Kenos, I think Kenos here is relating directly to the star. Oh, yeah, directly to the star. And again, I mentioned how I often think of this rune as the Kenas, as kind of like the hermit. And it is kind of the torch. It's the lantern. And here we have the star, the guiding light. Oh, and again, look at that. Kenos. We have Kenos, the Ace of Wands, and the star. We need to move away from something, and I think that something is comfort, is the comfort that we've had over these past 8 years, transitioning out this transit of Uranus through Taurus. And that's a big transit, because a fixed sign, which of course we have the world right here, and there's Taurus. With a fixed sign, that's a major disruption. And I think with Uranus moving into a mutable sign like Gemini, we're going from this kind of like holding our ground because the ground beneath us is quaking kind of thing for 8 years straight into a freer type of an energy. But again, we've kind of taken comfort in this disruption and in these hard times that we've found this sort of comfort in this defense. And And we're probably feeling rather anxious about this Seven of Cups, this energy of we don't know where to go. But like the runes are saying to us here is that we must trust that we have the direction, that we will find that direction. And it's of course inside of us. It's in each of us. We all know which direction we should go in. And it's just a matter, I think, of quieting ourselves enough, of finding peace. So Gabo here is acting, I think, as acknowledgement of the gift. The gift that we are going to give ourselves by moving on in this cycle. And the patterns that we break will give us room to create new patterns, to bring more abundance with this Knight of Pentacles. We know that we have to use this energy no matter what, and it can go either way. It could be stagnancy and repeating, and we don't rotate the crops, and we end up causing the garden to die, the Empress's garden to die, and our flowers at home to wither. And Fehu, of course, is the Knight. Fehu is the Knight. That is what will bring us the abundance in the end, is the work that that will be required to keep the fields watered, growing, cleared of weeds. And of course, just getting set up and started. And the only way we can do that is to move away from the old patterns. This is about getting out of that cycle and finding a new one, stepping into it, and trusting ourselves to do it, having the confidence of the Emperor and the light of the wand, and the steadiness of the Knight, and that confidence to walk away. One interesting thing about the Eight of Cups is it's the only card in the tarot with a eclipse in it. It depicts an actual eclipse, which requires either a new or a full moon, and we are going into a full one as of this reading. Going back to what we found on the top and the bottom, these old patterns, the nostalgia, is something we have to move away from. And we do that in order to find the fortune. We do that in order to create new memories, more things to look back on. Those memories will always be there, but we shouldn't hold on too tight, because that can keep us stuck on this wheel, maybe in the wrong parts. And yeah, here, walking away, moving on. That is a clear message. And having the confidence to do it, and knowing that we will become abundant. And knowing that even though we're moving away from the Empress, we will come back to her. The world is a cycle. And there is the wheel. Of course, is the four fixed signs and the four fixed signs on the world. Yeah, this is all about cycles and moving into a new one. Rotating the fields for more fertility, more abundance, Fehu, and trusting ourselves and recognizing that these changes, recognizing that these changes of the cycle are a gift, because it keeps us fresh and in new experiences. If you found value in this reading, please like and subscribe. If it resonated heavily with you, please tell me about it down in the comments. And with that, I hope to see you on the next one. Take care, everyone.